Describe a time you used your cell phone or smartphone to do something important. You should say what happened, when it happened, how important the cell phone or smartphone was, and explain how you felt about the experience.
All right, take it away. Let's hear that first simulated test taker at the Band 8 level.
Okay, so um, I'd like to talk about a time when I really needed my smartphone to book a train ticket, like last minute. This was last year. I was going from Dhaka to Chittagong for a family thing, and I totally spaced on getting my ticket beforehand. So when I finally checked, like most of the seats were already gone. I quickly used this railway booking app on my phone,
Mhm.
to see what was still available. And I managed to snag a ticket just in time. I mean, without my smartphone, there's no way I would have been able to book it. The ticket counters were already closed by then. So my phone was super important, obviously. Not only did it save me from missing the whole trip, but I was able to do the whole booking thing in like minutes. I felt so relieved. And, just grateful that we have such convenient technology these days. It really makes you appreciate how much smartphones make our lives easier.
All right, so that's a good, solid Band 8 response right there. It's clear, covers all the points, uses relevant vocabulary.
Yeah, and it's organized. You can tell the test taker is directly hitting each of those bullet points in the question prompt.
Exactly. Now let's see how this same test taker handles the Part 3 questions, sticking with that Band 8 level.
Okay, so following on from that, do you think it's ever too late to call someone? Like at 11 or 12 o'clock at night?
Hmm. I think generally, yeah, calling that late is kind of inconsiderate, unless it's like a real emergency, of course. I mean, most people are either asleep or just trying to chill out after a long day, so a call late at night could really bug them. It's definitely better to, like, just send a message if it's not urgent. Then you can call in the morning. But I guess it depends, right? If it's someone who you know is always up late, then maybe it's fine.
That's a good point.
Okay.
What about cell phone addiction? What can people do to break that?
Well, one thing that can help is setting screen time limits. Most phones have those built in now, or you can get an app. Also, just like making a conscious effort to put your phone away during meals or when you're hanging out with friends, actually being present and definitely before bed. Getting into other stuff can help too, like reading, going for a walk, anything that takes your mind off your phone. It's all about finding that balance.
I see. Do you think there should be like a law against making phone calls in public?
A law? Maybe not.
Oh.
I think it's more about like common courtesy,
Mhm.
just basic social etiquette. People should try not to talk super loud on their phone when they're in quiet places like libraries, restaurants, the bus. I think awareness campaigns would be helpful. Maybe some signs in public areas, just reminding people to be mindful. But yeah, I think in specific spots like movie theaters or hospitals, maybe there should be rules about phone use, just to keep things peaceful.
What about differences in how different generations use cell phones? Do you see any?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, young people are way more into social media, gaming, all that entertainment stuff. Older people mostly use their phones just to communicate, I think. You see teenagers glued to their phones, scrolling Instagram or whatever, while their grandparents are probably just texting or calling family. Plus, younger people are much more likely to shop online, study, even work, all on their phone. Older folks might stick to the old school ways of doing those things.
Okay, last one. What about you? What do you usually do with your cell phone?
Well, pretty much everything. Calls, messages, browsing the internet. I watch videos, listen to music, play some games. I use it to stay organized, like setting reminders and checking email. And of course, GPS when I need to find my way around. My phone is basically my lifeline.
So there you have it. A consistent Band 8 performance. Clear, direct, relevant details.
And the language is functional. The grammar is mostly accurate, the vocabulary fitted the topics. But you probably noticed, it's not super complex or sophisticated.
Yeah, the sentence structures are pretty straightforward. Nothing too fancy.
Right. So now, let's switch gears and hear how a test taker, aiming for that Band 9, might tackle this same Part 2 question. Listen closely for those subtle but important differences.
Here's that question one more time. Describe the time you used your cell phone or smartphone to do something important, you should say. What happened, when it happened, how important the cell phone or smartphone was, and explain how you felt about the experience.
I'd like to share an experience where my smartphone really came through for me during a crucial moment. This happened, about 6 months ago. I had applied for a remote job with an international company, and literally minutes before my online interview was supposed to start, my laptop just died, completely crashed. I was freaking out big time. But luckily, I had my smartphone as backup. So I immediately downloaded the video conferencing app, logged in, and joined the meeting, all from my phone. And it worked perfectly. The camera, the microphone, everything. I was able to do the interview without any technical issues at all. Honestly, my phone totally saved the day. It not only let me do the interview, but it saved me so much stress and disappointment. I felt such a huge wave of relief and just so much gratitude that I had such a capable device with me. It really showed me how important it is to be adaptable and have backup plans, especially when you're relying on technology for something important.
I don't know about you, but I can already hear a difference there. More sophisticated vocabulary, crucial moment, unexpectedly crashed, reliable backup, seamlessly, immense sense of relief, versatile and dependable. It just paints a more vivid picture.
Totally. It's not just using big words for the sake of it. It's choosing those words that precisely capture the situation and the test taker's feelings.
And the explanations are a bit more developed, more interconnected.
Okay, let's hear how this same test taker handles the Part 3 questions at that Band 9 level.
So going back to that idea of calling someone late at night, do you think 11 or 12 o'clock is just too late?
Generally speaking, I think calling someone that late is quite inconsiderate, unless it's a true emergency. Most people are either sleeping or winding down by then, and a phone call could be really disruptive. But of course, it depends on the person, their lifestyle, their time zone even. If someone regularly works nights or they're used to connecting with people across different time zones, a late call might not be a problem. But in most cases, it's best to err on the side of caution. Maybe send a quick message first to see if they're up for talking.
What about the problem of cell phone addiction? What strategies do you think are effective for tackling that?
Well, dealing with cell phone addiction requires a multi-pronged approach. It's about developing more mindful habits around phone use. Setting those screen time limits can be helpful, using the features on your phone or apps, and consciously making an effort to keep your phone out of sight during meals, social events, and definitely before bed. But I think it's also about finding other things to engage with. Reading, exercise, in-person socializing, creating tech-free zones in your home, like the dining table or bedroom. It's about finding that balance between utilizing technology and truly being present in the moment. Some people even find it helpful to have designated digital detox days, where they minimize or completely avoid phone use.
Do you think there should be laws in place to prevent people from talking on their phones in public places?
I think enforcing a law against phone calls in public might be a bit too extreme. It'd be hard to implement and probably wouldn't be well received. A more practical and socially acceptable approach would be to raise awareness about phone etiquette. Encourage people to be mindful of their volume, especially in places like public transport or cafes. We could have designated quiet zones in libraries and hospitals. And in specific situations, like on airplanes or in theaters, temporary restrictions might be necessary to minimize disruptions.
Interesting. What about differences in how younger and older generations use their phones? Do you see any?
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely some patterns there. Younger people tend to use their phones for entertainment and social connection, often multitasking across multiple apps. Older people, on the other hand, seem to prioritize the communication and practical aspects of their phones. So you might see younger generations on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, constantly consuming and creating content, whereas older adults might stick to calls, texts, checking the news. And younger users tend to be more comfortable with the advanced features of smartphones, like online banking using a wide array of apps, digital payment systems, while older generations might prefer more traditional methods.
Last question. How about you? What do you typically use your smartphone for?
For me, my smartphone is an essential tool, both for work and personal life. Of course, I use it for basic communication, calls, texts, but I also use it for work tasks, managing emails, attending virtual meetings, setting reminders. It's also my main source of entertainment on the go, watching videos, listening to music, scrolling social media. And then there's navigation, online shopping, even using educational apps to learn new things. It really helps me stay organized and makes life so much more convenient.
So what did you pick up on there? More complex sentences. Wider vocabulary, more nuanced explanations, even considering different perspectives or conditions.
Yeah, like with that first question about calling late at night, the Band 9 test taker didn't just say it's wrong, but talked about emergencies, different lifestyles, different time zones. It's a much more sophisticated way of thinking and using the language.
Exactly. It's not just about having more ideas, but expressing them with greater clarity and precision. The flow is smoother, too. More natural connections between thoughts.
So the bottom line is, even if the basic information is similar, the Band 9 test taker demonstrates a higher level of English proficiency.
They're able to articulate their thoughts in a more comprehensive and nuanced way. Like, remember the answer about preventing phone addiction. The Band 9 response was all about fostering a healthy equilibrium, not just listing off a couple of quick fixes.
So there you have it. You've just listened to a side-by-side comparison of Band 8 and Band 9 responses in a simulated IELTS speaking test. We hope this gives you a much clearer understanding of what examiners are looking for at those higher levels.
And it brings up an interesting question. We're so reliant on technology for communication these days. How might that change what it means to be proficient in spoken English? What skills will be most important in the future?
It's something to think about as you continue on your language learning journey.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
And good luck with your IELTS prep.